Huge victory for Timothy Busfield today, and an enormous loss and even embarrassment for prosecutors in Busfield's child abuse case. You know that Busfield has been held without bail for about 5 days after being charged with sexual abuse involving 2 young kids who were actors on the set of The Cleaning Lady. Busfield held without bail, but today there was a hearing on why that should stick, and the judge said, no way should this stick. The defense lawyer, the lawyer for Busfield, went line by line through the complaint and just started picking it apart, basically saying that this is a case involving revenge by parents who were angry that their kids were fired from the last season of The Cleaning Lady. To support the argument, the defense played for the judge an audio we first obtained involving one of the kids talking to the police. And even before the policeman asked, did Timothy Busfield touch you inappropriately, the child jumped in, even before the question was asked, and said, he never touched me inappropriately. Well, that is significant evidence, and the judge heard it, and that was then buttressed by something that the prosecutor had even put in her complaint, that one of the actresses on the set said that the mother of these 2 boys told her that if her kids were fired, she vowed revenge against Timothy Busfield. So there was a lot more that went on, but this defense lawyer just picked apart all of the allegations that the prosecutor had made, trying to suggest that he was a danger to the community. Another thing that the defense lawyer said was that Timothy Busfield was never alone with these children, and the people who regularly were around never saw anything untoward with Timothy Busfield and the kids. Melissa Gilbert, Timothy Busfield's wife, was in court. She was crying as the judge said not only would he release Timothy Busfield, but he would release him without any bail, that he is released on his own recognizance pending trial. Now, this does not mean that Timothy Busfield is in the clear. He is still the defendant in a child sexual abuse case, and that is serious. But if this is any bellwether where the judge went from no bail to releasing him without any bail, the judge at least seemed unimpressed with what the prosecutors have brought to the table, at least so far. Now, I think it's relevant. This is in Albuquerque, different from the Alec Baldwin Rust case that was in Santa Fe. But the Alec Baldwin case completely collapsed. And ultimately, the judge found there was prosecutorial misconduct and dismissed the case outright. And it was a huge embarrassment for Santa Fe prosecutors. I am not saying the same thing is going to happen with Timothy Busfield because it is premature. We haven't heard the trial. A trial is very different from what we heard now. But what we heard now is relevant because if the prosecutor is painting Timothy Busfield as this kind of danger to society so that he shouldn't ever get out until the trial runs its course, the judge didn't buy that at all, did the exact opposite today. So if this case were to collapse the way the Rust case collapsed, this is bad for New Mexico. And I realize there are 2 different jurisdictions, but people don't parse it that way. And that was a huge high-profile case in Santa Fe. This is a huge, huge case in Albuquerque. So it remains to be seen what happens. But today was an enormous defeat for prosecutors and a big victory for Timothy Busfield.